to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is the author of the book All's Fair in Love and Karma, no other than Miss June Edward. Welcome to Book 101, Miss June, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Sure. Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm a relationship expert. I'm a best selling international author, the creator of the Relationship Mastery Program, which is a 7-week online program that's reconciled hundreds and hundreds of relationships working with one person at a time. I'm also a psychic medium. I died when I was 27 years old and I came back here by choice.
Miss June Edward, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. How did you come up with the concept of blending karma with relationship advice?
So, the book is an offtake of the Relationship Mastery program that I developed, the 7-week program. And from putting hundreds of people through that program, I realized that everyone was there to learn 5 specific lessons. And some of them needed to learn all of the lessons, some of them only needed to learn a few of the lessons. But for the most part, they're karmic relationships and karmic lessons. We only have 3 types of relationships in our lives, and it doesn't matter who the relationship is with, whether it's family, friends, employees. Those are all relationships, and they're either karmic, soulmate, or twin flame. Whatever they are, we still have to learn those 5 soul lessons for our soul to advance.
What's the core message or intention behind the book?
Helping people understand why things are happening in their life. The universe wants you to think you have choice and free will, but really the only choice that you have is to whether or not you're going to delay learning these 5 lessons, because everyone has to learn these 5 lessons. And if you don't learn them in this lifetime, you're going to keep coming back in the next lifetime having to learn them. And your life here would be so much better if you could understand why things are happening in your life. Why are you with this person? Why did you take this job? Why can't you hold on to money? All those things. You can change anything you want in your life if you can understand the lesson and the reason behind it.
Miss June, let's talk about exploring the title and the theme of the book itself. The title is catchy. What does love and karma mean to you in the context of modern relationships?
Again, a lot of these relationships are karmic. So the universe will offer you choices. It'll offer you door one, two, and three. People take door one, they go through it, they get married, they have children, they get divorced. Where are they going to be? In front of door one, two, and three again. Most people are creatures of habit. What do? They take door one again. They go through it, they get married again, they have more kids, they get divorced again. Where are they? In front of door one, two, and three again. If they learn the lesson they were supposed to be learning, they're not going to take door one again. They're going to take door two, or they're going to take door three. And they may still get married again and have more children if that's what their plan is. However, it's not going to end the same way the other two did, because they learned the lesson they were supposed to learn. And we
How
learn our
do
lessons
yeah,
faster within relationship, and especially within a love relationship.
Miss June, how do karmic principles apply to a romantic partnerships or even friendships?
So there's nothing wrong with karma, first of all. Okay. You create karma in this lifetime if you've done something to someone else and you did not have remorse and you didn't make amends. Now they owe them a karmic debt in the next lifetime. And it's not a bad thing, because everything that happens in your life is always for your highest and best. Nothing ever happens to you, it always happens for you. So let's say you stole money from someone in a past life. It doesn't mean that karmically they're going to come back here and steal money from you. Maybe they're going to be your boss and teach you how money works, because money is energy. Okay, that's why it's called currency. And it's one of the lessons that we have to learn while we're here. So, karmically, they're coming through to help you. Just like marriages, how many times you'll marry someone, you'll have children, and then you realize that you two don't belong together. You're like fire and ice, and you split. Well, maybe the only reason you were together was to pay a karmic debt to be able to give that person those children. There's reasons for everything.
So, Miss June, do you believe, or yes, do you believe that people attract certain types of relationships based on unsolved karma?
So you plan your life before you come here, quite honestly. So everything that's happened in your life is for the most part pre-planned. And it's pretty complicated because you have that choice of taking door one, two, or three, and you can keep taking one the rest of your life and keep going round and round and round. And if that's the case, every relationship you attract that's coming into you is going to be a karmic relationship to teach you the lessons that you need to learn. You'll know it's a karmic relationship. A karmic relationship, when you get together, doesn't matter who it is, it just never quite feels right. It feels like there's something missing, like you're always looking over your shoulder or waiting for that other shoe to drop, looking for the red flags. And as soon as one or the other learns that lesson that they're supposed to be learning, that relationship ends immediately. It's like you wake up the next morning and say, why do I even have this person in my life? That's a karmic relationship, and that's a lesson that was learned.
So, Miss June, let's talk about the 5 steps to relationship mastery. Can you briefly walk us through the 5 steps to
Sure.
relationship mastery?
So those are the five lessons that you're here to learn. And when you learn them, you'll master all your relationships. And the first one is self worth. Self worth is understanding that you are more important than anything else because you are the only one of you in this entire universe. How special is that? You have a purpose here. It's not value, value is what other people place on you. Self worth is the understanding that it's not selfish or narcissistic to put yourself first, it's where everything else comes from. If you cannot take care of yourself first, you're just not going to be here to take care of anybody else, right? You won't be here. And no one else has power over you to make you feel or do anything. No one can make you mad. No one can make you love them. No one has that power. Only you have that power. Okay? That's self worth. The second lesson is trust and communication. You have to trust first that you made the plan that's happening in your life. So if you have things that you don't like are happening, it's because you're not walking the path you're supposed to be on. The universe has to make you uncomfortable to put you back on the path you're supposed to be on. You also have to trust that there is a higher power. There is only one. I don't care what you call it, Buddha, God, it doesn't matter. There is one source energy. And you also have to learn how to communicate your wants and needs to the people in your life because we just don't know if you don't tell us. And sex is just another form of communication. If you can't trust and communicate outside the bedroom, you're not going to be able to trust and communicate inside the bedroom. Then you have unconditional love. Unconditional love is very difficult for a lot of people because they want to hang on to the drama. Unconditional love is, say you have a child and they you love them unconditionally and they do something really bad. They murder a neighbor in a fit of rage and they go to prison for the rest of their life. You clearly don't approve of what your child did, but hopefully you're still going to love your child. That's unconditional love. And you have to learn to have that in all areas of your life. If you had children with someone and you get divorced, you need to love them for the fact that they were in your life long enough to be able to give you those beautiful children, right? Because there's a reason for everything. Unconditional love is very challenging for people. And if you cannot do it easy, the universe will just keep making it harder and harder until you can learn that lesson. Then you have money and balance. Money is what we use in this 3D world to show whether or not your life is in balance. Everything in the universe has to stay in balance. This is why you have the day and the night. You have up and down, you have heaven and hell. Everything has to stay balanced. And it has to be an even exchange of energy because everything in the universe is energy. Whether you call it frequency, vibration, energy, it's all different words for the same things. Everything is made of that. So money is energy. That's why it's called currency. And if you're working too many hours and you're just making a lot of money, then your life is out of balance. You don't have time for your friends, your family, your hobbies. And then if you're just hoarding that money and you're saving it, you're not spending it, again, it's like a piece of wire with electricity that goes through it. It's currency. The more money you put out, the more money comes back to you. It has to flow, like just like water in a river. This is how money works. You can't hang on to it because then you won't get any more. It's that simple. And everything has to be an equal exchange, right? So when you go grocery shopping, you don't walk into the grocery store and put down $1 million to buy a bunch of bananas, right? Not yet. So it has to be that equal exchange of energy, or you don't have any value. When I first started my relationship mastery program, I gave it to a couple of people at no charge that were in the military because they told me they couldn't afford it. And of course, I felt bad. Do you know they didn't bother to do the program? It could have changed their life and saved their marriage, but they didn't bother because it had no value. They didn't pay for it. This is why you have that equal exchange of energy. It places value. Then you have patience. And patience is, again, one of the more difficult lessons that people have to learn. We live in a society now of instant gratification. Everybody wants everything right now. And it just doesn't work that way. Everything comes to you in the time that you're supposed to get it. Suppose you're a 10-year-old and, a 10-year-old girl wants to get married and, live in a castle and be Cinderella and, have children of her own. And wouldn't it be stupid if they start marching the kids on in at 10 years old, right? It comes in the time that it's supposed to come. And if you're, maybe you're 35 or 40 and your biological clock is ticking and you haven't gotten married and you don't have kids yet, it's because this is how you planned it in your life. And it doesn't mean you'll never have children. Maybe you'll marry a widow or a widower when you're 50 and you'll be raising their children. Maybe you'll be raising grandchildren for someone. You really don't know the plan and you're not supposed to know the whole plan. If you knew it was going to happen every day, you wouldn't get out of bed. It's that simple.
Very well said, Miss June. Beautifully articulated. Which step the most people struggle with and why?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Which step do you most people struggle with and why?
Which lesson do they struggle with?
Yes.
Um, I think people struggle with all of the lessons, just some of them struggle with some more than others because they are bogged down in the drama. They don't have the faith. And I think nowadays it's harder and harder. I'm finding more and more atheists. There is a God. And you don't have to believe me. Trust me, when you die, you'll meet them. I've never met an atheist yet on their deathbed, and I do that for volunteer work. I go and sit with people as they're dying. And there is a God.
Certainly, there's a God, people. Just believe it. Let's talk about self growth and awareness. How important is a self awareness in creating fulfilling relationships?
So the reality of it is that we are not the suit that sits here. Okay. You and I are not these suits. We are the soul that's inside. That's who we truly are. And most people don't know who their soul is, they have no idea. And until you understand who your soul is and you connect with your soul, then you're living a life of 3D drama. That's it. While we're in this suit, we have a brain in our head, right? Our brain is a massive computer, helps us process all the information throughout the day. But your brain has a very specific job. Your brain's job is to protect you. How does it do that? It does it by creating fear. So people make all their decisions based on fear. And when you're doing that, it's a 50-50 crapshoot. Sometimes it works out okay, sometimes it doesn't. But you're always questioning your decisions. Everyone's had something in their life where they just knew they were supposed to do it, right? I just knew it's that knowing. I just know it. And you don't think it through a lot, you just do it and it works out fine. That is your soul giving you that information. So the fastest way to tap into your soul is through meditation. And I teach meditation. It's in all of my books. Everyone should be protecting themselves prior to meditation by calling on maybe Archangel Michael, something, because when you open up yourself to meditation and to the universe, you're opening yourself up to good and evil. But you should be meditating 20 minutes a day, 3 times a day, so that you can connect with your soul. And when you do that, you'll start getting that knowing. You won't be thinking, you'll be knowing. And when you can live your life from that knowing, it's a wonderful experience. And you'll also attract everything in your life that you want and need, because this is when the law of attraction kicks in, because you're raising your vibration. Your soul is too big for this body. Some of it's in your body, some of it's over your body that people can see, and they call it an aura. And the majority of your soul is actually in the lowest level of heaven, that fifth dimension. That's where I went when I died. And it knows everything from all of your past lives, and it orchestrates the timing of the events in this life. So when you meditate, you're connecting to the soul that's up there, and that's at a very, very high vibration. So you've raised that vibration now, and you start attracting in all the good stuff. It's like Christmas every day.
I like that. Christmas every day. So, how can someone break free from toxic relationship patterns rooted in the past experiences?
They need to start focusing on themselves. Self worth. It all starts with self worth. You don't deserve that in your life. Everyone deserves to be happy. Everyone deserves to have everything they've wanted in this lifetime. And that's what the universe wants to do. It wants to give you everything you've asked for. You have to learn how to believe that, know it, and get in touch with your soul. And then you won't want to be around that drama. That drama just disappears, it just falls away once you start getting in touch with your soul and raising your vibration.
Miss June, let's talk about the practical application. Do you include exercises or reflections in the book?
The book is an overview of the program and how, what the lessons are. And I think by reading through the lessons, people are reflecting already as to how it relates in their own life. Okay. The program is a 7 week program. It's much more in depth because it takes 3 to 4 weeks for someone to realize, to really connect with their soul and shift their vibration and then balance their energy, because that's what it's all about. It's all about your energy.
Miss June, what will be your short term and long term goals in writing?
Um, my only goal in writing is to try to help people and get the information out there for them so that they can learn and know the things that I've been taught. That is my only goal. So will I write another book? Probably someday. Um, that's not my biggest goal in life. It's certainly not where my priorities go. My priorities are helping people with their own lives, trying to help people connect with their soul, better their lives, and change their lives.
Good luck to your goals, Miss June. And what will be your advice for those people out there who want to write their own book?
So I am not the best person to ask that, and I will tell you why. When I write a book, I am randomly putting things down on paper, all of my thoughts, all the things that have come through to me, and I literally have to call on my guides from heaven to help me put the book together. And then it shuffles around, and boom, it's perfect. I have a son that's a writer. He went to school for writing. He does screenplays as well, and he does the full outline and, does the whole 99 yards. And guess what? He has to rewrite his book 3 and 4 times. Same thing with his screenplays on his fifth or sixth revision. So trust in your soul. When you can get in touch with that soul, you can ask for help from the other side, from your angels, from your guides. They're real and they will help you write your book. And this was an international bestseller. That's proof.
Congratulations, Miss June, for bringing up this all for the love and and thank you for your advice. How did your own relationships, past or present, influence your writing?
So I don't stress over the things that have happened in my life. I can understand why they've happened and my own part that I played in that and the lessons that I needed to learn. I needed to learn these lessons as well. Unconditional love, I had already learned. I had very abusive parents, yet I took care of both of them prior to their death. And I forgave them because I knew it was all part of the plan. I wouldn't be who am right now if I wasn't raised the way I was. But it gave me the opportunity to not take things personally. What other people think of you is none of your business. So I live my life. I'm a very happy person. I help people. I do what I can do. And it puts everything in life in perspective. Once you balance your energy, your highs aren't real high, your lows aren't real low. You take everything with a grain of salt and you trust in the universe and know that everything that's happening is happening for your highest and best. And it always turns out that way.
Definitely, people don't care what people say about you because they don't care about you. So, Miss June, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to one of my audiobooks. People, audiobooks available on Audibles, and of course, my Book 101 Review Volume 3 Suggestions, Book 101 Review Volume 2 Selected, and Book 101 Review Volume 1 Highly Recommended. These are the product of my first season on Book 101 Review, and one of my self-help books, Threads of Existence, Waving the Tapestry of Life, Stand Tall, Stand Together, Breaking the Chains of Bullying, and Life is Too Short, A Journey of Discovery, Fulfillment, and Joy. And one of my climate change book, Earth Fever, Unraveling Climate, and Our Race to Restore Balance, available on Audible, and one of the bestsellers. So, Miss June, what there any insights that surprised even you were while doing research or writing the book itself?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that completely.
Were there any insights that surprised
That surprised
even?
me.
Yes.
Um, I guess the entire book surprised me, quite honestly, because as I started writing it, I really was able to put a lot of my students in perspective as to the lessons they were learning, why they were doing the things that they were doing. Some of them that were difficult students and were taking pride in being difficult, even though they really wanted to change their life.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, so that was a surprise for me.
Definitely, Miss June Edward. Thank you so much for sharing your book to the world. And we are hoping for more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your book?
Sure. If they can go to my website, juneedward.com, and there are links to all of my books, especially this one. And there's plenty of reviews that you can read as well and services if you want a book to talk to me.
Yes, people, let's support Miss June Edward because if you support her, more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Miss June, thank you so much for your time.
And thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Bodycam people, see you soon.